Hey everybody, MrAyrit here. Got another headphone review for you today. This one is another Beyerdynamic. This is the T1.2, so the second generation T1. I heard a lot of things about this headphone. You know, it kind of flies under the radar, I feel like, a little bit, but the people who love it really love it, and I think I know why. So let's take a look. I'll show you what kind of what you get, and we'll discuss the sound and why it is kind of appealing. Here we go. All right, so just real quick, I wanted to show you, somebody sent these to me, so I don't know if this is standard issue with the T1s, but I assume so. But I got kind of a nice Beyerdynamic hard or semi-hard case here. It's got kind of like a velour feel to it on the outside, so pretty nice little case that comes with it there. Outside of that, you know, it's a used headphone, so I'm not sure exactly. I do have the stock cable here, and it is a dual 3.5 plug, which is cool, but it's also really far recessed, so I don't know how easy it would be to get aftermarket cables. I don't know if you know, like a typical heart system would fit in there or not. I'm not sure, but it is kind of cool that it at least comes with a detachable cable on the Beyer, and it is possible to do it balanced, I'm sure, if you figured out the right cable to go with it. And as the cables come out, you know, they kind of angle slightly forward when they come out of the cups there, which is a nice little touch, I think. You know, if we look at the build here, talking about the rest of that, let me get this cable out of the way. It's pretty standard Beyerdynamic, you know. I mean, it's a little bit nicer quality than their entry-level stuff, like the 880s, 990s, 770, but it's still a Beyerdynamic. You know, it's still plastic and metal, and you know, you pretty much know what you're gonna get with Beyerdynamic, and it's a solid build. It feels like a solid headphone. Comfort is, you know, it's Beyerdynamic. Again, they all wear very much the same way, and that's a pretty good thing in my opinion. I feel like they're pretty comfy headphones for long listening sessions. So yeah, I have no complaints about the build or the looks of them. The standout on these is kind of like the grading here, which is kind of textured in a couple of different ways and pattern. It's neat, understated, but you know, it's a nice little touch there. All right, let's talk sound. So when I first listened to these, I did not like them at all. I thought they were super treble forward. But I think that comes from I just wasn't powering them enough. And I don't know that they're supposed to be particularly hard to drive. Like, I hadn't ever heard that about these, but I just found with the lower power sources that the upper frequencies came through a lot more than the lower things did, and for me it was like pretty shrill and not a pleasant listening experience. So I kind of wrote these off, and I didn't really listen to them a whole lot. And then I got my Bottlehead Crack put together. I bought one that was kind of like half put together, and I finished it up, and I put these on that thing, and wow, dude, they just came to life, and just in a really nice, organic way. And I think, you know, these have something to offer. They're, you know, I wouldn't say that they're like the best at anything. They have adequate detail. Their timbre is a little wonky, like it kind of has some weird Beyerdynamic frequency response stuff, and I feel like the way Beyers produce bass, a lot of them, is it's kind of got this more like room filling quality to it, as opposed to like a precise pinpoint location that it's coming from, and that can be good or bad. But I kind of learned to love it on this headphone, and it's because of the way this thing presents space. It really creates a whole kind of three-dimensional soundscape around you, which is quite engaging when you get into it, despite the timbre being off a little bit. Like I said, with just the way kind of the bass is presented, and then I definitely feel like there's like a little peakiness in the upper ranges. But you know, if on the Crack, it kind of smooths it out enough that it doesn't really bother me, and I'm able to still kind of just slip into that soundscape and enjoy myself. So really engaging headphone from when I'm listening to it on the Bottlehead Crack. And just the Bottlehead Crack, like, I've been really impressed with that thing. It really breathes a lot of life into things, but that'll have to come, you know, in a later review. Vocals and mids on these are recessed, definitely. Try coming from like a 6XX to these, or like the Aeolus to these, and it's like, whoa, the vocals are way back in the mix. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but these are not an intimate headphone. That's kind of, that's the idea. Again, think the whole space, right? And you know, it takes a little bit getting used to. If you're used to really intimate vocals, I think it's going to be maybe unappealing at first, but if you give it a little bit of time, and if your source equipment is producing that soundscape, I feel like you can really kind of slip into those recordings and really enjoy yourself with these headphones. And I think that same quality of these made them also really great for watching like TV and movies, I thought. I pretty much watched the whole, like I binge watched a couple weekends ago, the whole Arcane League of Legends series that's on Netflix now, which, like, whether you're a fan of that game or not, you should watch that series. It is really good. Seriously, go check out like the reviews online for it, because it's getting like 100%. But great soundtrack too. So that was a lot of fun to listen to and to watch with these headphones. Gaming, I think they do a wonderful job too. So again, I walk away from these thinking, you know, I wouldn't mind owning them. Somebody sent these to me, so like a friend of the channel, so I gotta send them back. But it is a rather good do-it-all headphone, but definitely it's a jack of all trades, a master of none, and I don't think it's gonna be for everybody. And you might have to have the right DAC and amp and things to get it to do what it was doing for me, which I was using mainly the Bifrost 2 and the Cutest, going to the Bottlehead Crack. But man, that was just a good combo, and just really just lively and just three-dimensional. And that was it's a really fun listen if you give them a chance. And I think you do have to give them a chance too. Like, you may be turned off by the frequency response when you immediately put them on. I know I kind of am, but if I give it a song or two, I really settle into it and find it quite enjoyable. So, you know, and that's coming from me, who, you know, I've got the HE6 right here, and I feel like this on the Crack is, you know, about par detail-wise in the middle and upper frequencies. But like, this is just a more lively presentation than the HE6. The HE6 is a more you go and get it type of information, where this thing is really like, it's just throwing all this stuff at you all at once. I don't know. And then the Aeolus is here too, and I'm going back and forth. And I mean, there are definitely things that those other headphones do better than this. But again, just as far as like a enjoyment, sit down and listen, I don't know. I'm really digging these. Really digging them. Let's see, what else can I say? You know, there is a lot of sparkle in these headphones. And, you know, on the wrong amp, that can be kind of a bad thing. Or if it's a little underpowered, that can be a bad thing. But on the Crack, you know, strings and vocals had just a little bit of sizzle to them, you know, on the end of them. Which that, you know, it toes the line, and like I said, some amps can take it over the line, I thought. But on a nice tube setup, I thought it was quite enjoyable, actually. That Beyerdynamic sound is just, to me, it's always just a little bit off. Like, their timbre just isn't quite right. But they are all just interesting headphones, though. None of them are bad, I don't think. Like, they all have their own kind of unique sound to them. I ultimately don't ever seem to settle on them for daily drivers, but just, I don't know, they're always a contender. They're always a contender. And always kind of worth a look in that price range. And I think these, you know, if you could pick up a set of these for $300-400, and you got a tube amp to try them out on, I don't know, I think you might give them a shot. Like, they're good. They're good. They're enjoyable. All right, well, that's been the Beyerdynamic T1, second generation. Good marks in the $300-400 range. I think certainly worth a look. if you're looking for something a little bit more lively and a little bit different and something that does three-dimensional space really well. T1s. Yeah, and I think that'll do it. As always, I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. I've got links in the description down below for this guy and some of the other things mentioned here. And then, you know, of course, subscribe if you're interested in more headphone content in the future. And as always, you know, feel free to question, comments, alternative opinions down below. And yeah, we'll see you next time.